grab your flippers and your water wings, because we're going under the sea! We're not gonna get sued for that, are we? Welcome back! I'm McChillbeans, and for once, I'm going to talk about a game I've played before. This is actually one of the first games I've ever beaten 100%, and I don't hear enough people talk about it. So, in light of that, let's talk about Octodad.
Who's that man with the three-piece suit? Making a doll with the log and fruit. Who's that man with the 8 strong legs? Tried to make me breakfast, but it broke my eggs. Octodad. Nobody suspects a thing. Octodad.
This game is really fun, and it has one of the quirkiest control schemes around, which just enhances that fun factor. If you have no prior knowledge to this series, allow me to enlighten you. Octodad is a game where you play as an octopus in disguise as a man, and not just a man, but a dad. You're married to a lovely woman named Scarlett and have 2 beautiful children named Tommy and Stacy. And the whole point of the game is to prevent anyone from finding out that you're secretly an octopus. Now, you may be thinking, what? But let me explain. The whole point of the game is doing mundane, everyday tasks as a slippery, slimy octopus in a 3-piece suit. This involves anything from simply walking around to climbing around on rafters engulfed in flames trying to save your children! Whoa. Okay, sorry. I'm getting way too far ahead of myself here. Basically, every task has to be done without alerting too much attention from bystanders. Here's a fun fact for you. Octopi can squeeze into incredibly small spaces due to having no internal or external skeleton. This is replicated really well throughout the entire game, most notably for me in the supermarket level. However, his lack of skeleton is something of a challenge to work around. If you start from the beginning of the game, the progression is rather nice. The challenges appear at a steady pace and really test your knowledge of the controls as you work through the level. Most objectives have more than one way of being completed, and it's really fun to try and figure out all the ways to beat a level. Like I mentioned before, I've completed the game 100%, or at least I've beaten every level, gotten every tie, and completed all the achievements. There are time trials where you have to beat the developers' times, but it's a pretty intense undertaking. For the simplicity of the controls, the game throws some really great challenges at you that make you think and really test your skills as an octopus man. That alone makes this game worthy of picking up. But then, you have the story. Another quick fun fact, some octopi can change the color and shape of their skin to resemble rocks, plants, or even other sea creatures. Octodad, on the other hand, can barely keep himself upright at his own wedding. And yet, he still remains undiscovered by anyone, even his own wife. A few years make her question some of his actions, but I think she should just let him be. When you marry someone, you should respect their decisions and actions. She shouldn't ask why he hasn't fixed the flooded basement yet. She shouldn't wonder why his preferred coffee sweeteners are sea salt and tartar sauce. And she shouldn't have to question his innate hate and fear of aquariums. Or maybe she should, because he's a f***ing octopus. Well, that's new. One thing I really enjoy is that the developers updated the game and added 2 free levels with it. That's not something that happens too often with games, but I think more should follow this pattern. I had already beaten the whole thing when they added them, and I was really happy. It gave me more reasons to go back and play the game again, without having to purchase the extra levels. One last thing I'd like to touch on is at the end of the game. After crossing the flaming rafters I mentioned before, and defeating the chef for the last time, your son Tommy poses a rather interesting question.
Wait a second. If Dad is an octopus, then where did me and Stacy come from?
Well, Tommy, our last fact of the day has you covered. During reproduction, the male octopus rips off his penis and gives it to the female. Wait, what?